Hello everybody, this is Andreas, Business Coach. Today I'm talking to Steve Wilson, and he runs Wilson Design Associates in Chichester. So I just wanted to find out about his business, and in particular where he got from where he started to where he is now. So Steve, thanks for seeing me.
It's good. Thank you for having me.
Good, thank you very much for seeing me as well. So why don't you just explain to us a little bit how you got into the design business. So where did it all start?
A long time ago, I went to college in London to study design, and then I went freelance straight from college. I was in publishing at that time in London, and I did studio practice at a big publishing house, and the art director I was working for at the time, when I did studio practice, left the business and set up on his own, and he came to my degree show and asked me whether I'd like to work for him straight from college.
Right.
So I walked straight into a job.
Right.
6 months after that, we were in a studio on the South Bank in London, and he announced that he was going to emigrate to Australia.
All right.
And we were in the middle of some big projects for publishers. So the publishers agreed, because I knew the projects, that I could finish them.
Right.
So I became self-employed.
So you were designing the book covers, or what were you doing?
The interiors, the whole book.
The whole book, right.
Yeah. We were doing a lot of children's books as well, so we'd sketch them out, send them off to illustrators, they'd colour them up, and we'd pull it all together and send it off to print. So we were pulling the package together.
I see. So are you saying that your whole life, actually, since you finished with your degree, you have been self-employed?
I have.
Wow, that's an interesting one. Never employed by anybody?
No.
Wow, that's cool.
No, I've always been self-employed. In the mid-80s, I set up a kind of associateship with two other designers from publishing. We were called Hybrid Design. We were based in Covent Garden. It lasted about 3 or 4 years. Then I went into a partnership in '87.
Okay.
And that lasted till '94. And then I set up Wilson Design Associates in '94.
Right.
So it's 25 years next year.
25 years. Wow. Okay. And what would you say were some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome during your career?
In the kind of mid to late '90s, I'd grown quite big as a studio. I had 7 full-time staff and a suite of freelancers that I used. I was pulling in all the work, and I basically stopped designing. I was running the business and managing all the time.
Was that in London then? Or
Yeah, we were based in Islington at that time. And I kind of naturally fell into that role because it had grown that way, but I missed design. And then
you didn't enjoy the part of the managing of the business and growing the business?
To a certain extent, but within me, I'm a designer. I'm a creative, and I like doing the bits. And all I was doing was telling other people how to do it, and then going, "That's not the way I do it. Can you try this? Can you try that?" So I was missing the design side of it, and then I was forced to go one way, because in '97 we had the first crash. And within 3 months I'd lost an awful lot of business, and I had to make all my staff redundant.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay.
I kept it going as long as I could, but I couldn't afford to keep paying the salaries. So I just basically said to everyone, the computers are there. Try and get yourself some freelance work. You can stay at the computer, and if you can make yourself a little living, you can share the office with me. And then bit by bit, over the following 3 to 6 months, I re-employed all of them as freelancers.
Oh, I see.
Because the work started to come back in. And that was around '98, '99, and then a year later, in '99, we had our first daughter.
Okay.
And we decided we didn't want to live in London anymore.
Okay.
So I moved the business out of London in 2000.
Came down to?
We came down to this area. We were in Storrington, which is kind of between Chichester and Brighton. And I moved my business to Brighton.
Right.
I had one person in Brighton with me. And I kept one person in London. I tried to run 2 studios.
Right.
And I didn't get enough work to do that. So we closed the London studio down.
Why do you think you didn't get enough work? Did your marketing not reach out enough into London and Brighton, or what were the reasons for that, do you think?
At that time, 90% of what we did in London was publishing.
Right.
And the publishing market in the late '90s changed with the onset of computers, and people receiving things digitally over the internet was starting to grow, and publishing died. Over a decade, it just
slowly died.
So we weren't getting the work that we used to. I'd always done some brand work, and I concentrated on that when I moved out of London and built up that side of the business.
Okay. And so what happened then?
It was just me for a few years. For about 2 or 3 years, it was just me trying to find clients. That's when I started networking. And yes, I slowly built up a client base, built up a trust base, because obviously nobody knew me in the area. So it took a few years to establish myself. And then it's kind of grown from there, really.
So you said through networking, and I know you run the First Friday network group. Was that a great help then in your endeavor to move forward?
Oh yeah, it kind of rocketed people getting to know me, really, and my reputation. I started it in 2003. The local council and the local Chamber of Commerce supported it. The first meeting we had 6 people at the end of the bar. And then within a year we were getting 30 to 40 people turning up every month. And them all knowing who I was and recommending me and so on.
Was it the only marketing you did at the time, or did you do anything else?
I've tried a little bit of everything. I tried some press advertising. I tried social media advertising, you know, pay-per-click and all that.
Did any of this work?
One advert worked. The year that I won Personality of the Year in the Chichester Observer Awards, I also took out an ad.
I see.
I got 1 client from that. That client lasted for about 5 or 6 years, so it was well worth it. But that's the only time it's ever worked for me.
Ever worked when you won the award?
Yes.
Okay, so winning awards and then advertising, that works.
On the same page,
on the same page. Okay, so your main vehicle for getting clients through the door was then through your networking group. And that ramped up slow over the first year, you said? And then it continued. And have you done anything ever different throughout the years now since you've been running successfully?
I've dipped in and out of different networking groups, not just First Friday. I'm part of 4N. I've attended BNI. I was a major part of the Chamber of Commerce. I attended their networking events. And basically over a kind of 5-6 year period, I got the reputation of turning up to the opening of an envelope. I was everywhere just to get my face known. And it worked.
Do you have any tips when it comes to networking to people that are just looking into that?
Be yourself and don't sell. The people that don't succeed in networking are the people that walk into a room, sell at everyone, and walk away without a client and say, it doesn't work for me. It's not about that. It's about building relationships. Most of the benefit of the networking has come from referrals outside the room. So people who've met me and referred me to their clients, not necessarily them themselves. Okay,
and that is because they trust what you say during the meetings?
And they've heard that I've done good jobs for other people, that I've been reliable, that I've always done what I've said I'm going to do. We were talking about this earlier, customer relations, always giving great customer satisfaction. If I ever did anything wrong, I'd make up for it. And if one of my suppliers let me down, I didn't just blame that supplier. I did whatever I could to make it right.
Understood. And so, what have your company morphed into now then? What are you doing these days then?
A few years ago I joined a business organisation called Entrepreneurs Circle, run by Nigel Bottrell. Previous to that, I'd always just considered myself a designer running my own business. And I went to a meeting up in Birmingham where they're based. And on the 2.5-hour car journey on the way home, I decided that I was going to be an entrepreneur running a design business. And that kind of change in mindset helped me create Chichester Print. Because I'd spent 20-odd years being a Ponzi designer, not wanting to be associated with print, although we'd always done the print for all of our design clients. So I decided it would be another route into market. So we set up Chichester Print to try and capture clients that were buying print before they bought design, or who already had the design and just wanted a rerun, or they'd got the artwork done somewhere else, or they were capable themselves. And over the last 3 years, it's brought in about 50 new clients.
Wow. So you have the fulfillment house as well as the design. So you do the whole package, really.
We don't physically print ourselves, but I've been buying print for 30 years. I know who to go to get the right product for the right price. And no one printer can do it all perfectly.
So you design, you organize a print. Is there anything else you do within the kind of design journey?
We do websites.
Your website design as well?
So we can take a client from startup without a logo or a brand or anything, and we can take them through the whole journey to market.
I found it interesting what you said a bit earlier about the mind shift, that when you came back from your journey. So why did that happen? Why did it just click?
I think Nigel just pointed out the fact that I wasn't just designing. I was running a business, and I was helping other people run their business as well, which I'd never really considered, although I'd been doing it naturally because of my years of experience working for clients from one-man bands up to multi-million-pound businesses. I just kind of knew what would work for certain size businesses. And when they came to me and said, I want to do this, I'd be going, are you sure? What's your marketplace? Who are you trying to attract? I don't think you really want to go and spend £10,000 on brochures that you're going to send out when you only really need 5 clients.
And that was a big breakthrough moment for you in terms of your business.
It was really, yeah. Because I've been happily doing what I do, and Wilson Design Associates was my business. First Friday was a tag on that I'd only ever used to promote Wilson Design Associates. And that now has become an entity in its own. I'm making a business of that as well. So I'm much more of the mindset that I am a businessman, not just a designer.
Is there any other big highlight in your long career that you think back as, wow, that was a great moment in my career as a designer, as an entrepreneur, a businessman? Is there anything else, do you think, that was of that kind of status? Creating
marketing pieces for my clients that they've come back and said that really worked. It's happened many times. It's also happened many times the other way when it's not really been quite as successful as they'd hoped. But sometimes when they come back and go, yeah, that just hit the spot. We went out to our clients, we got immediate responses, and we've made a fortune from it, and we're going to try it again next year.
Have you got one example that you can share?
We do a lot of work for Serco, who provide services for local government recycling, waste clearance and stuff. And when they get a contract, we help them do communication out to the client base, which is basically the general public. And we did it was a funny thing called bingo, and it was to help raise recycling rates. And we developed these little bingo cards and little stickers that went out every month with different numbered balls on. And that was a huge success. And it raised recycling rates by double digits in that area. They got a huge response from it.
Because people just liked to be participating in that game that you created there? It was like
a
game, wasn't it?
It was like playing bingo over a period of several months. And they would get voucher prizes that they could spend on the high street. And it just raised the profile of what they could recycle and to actually do it, because they had to put their recycling bin out to get the sticker put on it for the next one.
Going forward then, what's next for you? What's the next big thing?
I'm trying to grow First Friday. It works for people, the fact that I've not really put an awful lot of effort into it for the last 15 years, but it's still growing. People still want to be part of it. People want to network. And creating a network where there's very little onus on you having to spend lots of money to be a member and attend all the time. It's a come and go as you please. It's free to attend the meeting. And it works for people. People like to be together. And because it's partly social, it takes away that pressure of having to sell. And lots of business has happened over the years. We've got some really fantastic clients out of it. And I know people who have attended. Some of them have built their business off the back of the people they've met through First Friday. But all the details can be found on the website.
Okay, great. Well, it's been smashing talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And for you guys out there, 2 big messages really, Steve. One of them is that networking only works if you don't sell at the networking and instead build trust with your community, and over time they learn about you. And the other thing is really the mind shift from realizing that you're no longer just a plumber, a dentist, a solicitor, an electrician. You are actually a business owner, and treat it as a business and make it grow, really. And you will be making that thing a success. So thank you very much for this week, and I will speak to you again. Bye-bye.